Liverpool currently, man. And I must tell you, I'm not a Liverpool fan. So I don't know if I'm right to speak about the current state of Liverpool Football Club, in all honesty. But I'm a fan of the sport, and I grew up watching Liverpool. Also, they have a history behind them. And you just have to... Liverpool is one of those clubs you just have to respect. You know? This season, they have not hit the strides they once had. They have had a few losses. With a team that's well equipped. So you already know there's going to be questions coming up. I mean, with the players that they brought in, the money that they spent, that's been one of the main talking points. One thing I didn't understand. I did not understand the sale of Diaz to Bayern Munich, because currently Diaz is proving that it was a wrong decision. But let's start right here at the top, because this is one that it doesn't sit right with me. Selling Diaz to Bayern Munich felt unnecessary. I mean, you're talking about a player who brought energy, directness, and unpredictability on the left. He was one of the few who could change a game by himself. Liverpool weren't desperate for money, and Diaz wasn't pushing for a move publicly. So why let him go? It's afterwards Diaz came out and said, all right, then fine, I'll go. It almost feels like a decision made in isolation. No clear replacement lined up, no real tactical explanation, and definitely no easing into whatever slot is trying to build. Losing a player like Diaz mid-transition destabilizes the whole structure. Bayern absolutely won in this deal. Because if you see the likes of what Diaz is doing right now at Bayern, it's remarkable. Then Diogo Jota. And many might overlook this, but I believe Diogo Jota's death has shifted the dynamics. Salah especially looks affected in some degree. And we can't ignore the human side of the season. Jota's passing changed everything, not just tactically, but emotionally. This was someone deeply loved in the dressing room, and you can see the weight on certain players. Salah in particular looks like a man carrying more than just football on his shoulders. His body language changed, his spark feels different. This isn't a dip in form, this is grief showing itself in subtle ways. The chemistry in the attack took a hit, the balance shifted, and the leadership load, it just fell right on Salah's shoulder, doubled overnight. Then we move on to the new signings, and I'll make a mention of a few. Signings such as Kerkez, Wirtz, Isak, and Ékitiké. Liverpool didn't just spend, they spent big. Kerkez was supposed to bring that fresh left-back dynamism. Wirtz came in with elite creative expectation. Isak, massive fee, proven Premier League talent, and Ékitiké was billed as the high upside project. But right now, none of them look like they have settled. Wirtz flashes quality but disappears in games. Isak looks uncomfortable in the system. Kerkez is still adjusting to the Premier League physicality. And Ékitiké, he looks like he's trying too hard to justify his place. These aren't squad players. These are supposed to be spine players. The patience is thin. And given the amount of money that is spent to bring in these players, a lot of questions are raised as to why purchase Isak and Ékitiké at the same time. And then, like I said, I don't see the sense in buying both Isak and Ékitiké. This is the part that really feels like poor recruitment planning. Why buy both players? They're stylistically two similar in terms of roles. They are both forwards who prefer central zones. Both need rhythm. Both are confident players. Isak alone makes sense if you want a polished, ready-to-go striker. Ékitiké makes sense if you want a developmental one. But together, you have just created a logjam in the same position while ignoring other areas that needed depth. It feels like Liverpool tried to shop smart and ended up shopping confused. And just to add to that, I feel as if this Isak deal, because Liverpool was in for Isak from the get-go. But because Newcastle decided, you know what, he's not for sale, Liverpool pulled the trigger and bought Ékitiké. Then afterwards, Newcastle was also in for Ékitiké. But at the time, because they made a decision not to sell Isak at the time, Liverpool went and bought Ékitiké. And then Isak decided to go on a strike, not wanting to return to Newcastle. In that event, I feel as if Liverpool felt like it was right to go and buy the player. And Newcastle fell out and lost out on Ékitiké purchase. So I felt that was one of the reasons why they ended up buying Isak, you know. And adding Isak is not a bad thing. It's just that it's not working out. I actually feel bad for Slot. The top signings aren't performing and you can't bench them. This is the classic manager's nightmare. Slot came in with good ideas, a fresh approach, and the backing of a board. But now you spend close to $500 million and suddenly you're stuck. Because if your expensive signings aren't clicking, what do? You can't bench them because the board starts questioning the plan. You can't keep forcing them because performances tank. And you can't rotate too aggressively because the chemistry is already fragile. Slot is trying to find a balance, respecting the price tags, respecting the dressing room hierarchy, and respecting football. But right now, the mix isn't right. And he's the one carrying the weight. It's early, but the pressure is already real. Like I said, if you decide to bench these players, the questions are going to come up. Why spend all that money to put those players on the bench? So he's faced with a lot. Van Dijk, as always shouting and blaming players, but not being the defender he should be. Not the defender that we know Van Dijk to be. And finally, let's talk about the big one. He's always vocal. He's animated. He's constantly pointing, shouting, and directing. But the performances aren't matching up to his leadership. You can't berate your teammates every week if you're not setting the standard. His positioning looks off lately. He's losing duels that he normally dominates. And instead of leading by example, it looks like he's trying to lead through frustration. This isn't the Van Dijk of 2019 who was untouchable. This is a veteran struggling to adjust as the team around him changes rapidly. And that disconnect becomes obvious every time he throws his hands up instead of taking accountability. So definitely, guys, the situation right now at Liverpool have caused some stir. People calling for Slot to leave. You know, I understand, because winning the Premier League last year, expectations are going to be greater this year. And bearing in mind that they have spent so much on these players. Honestly, Liverpool is a team you cannot write off, period. Because the quality is there, the players are there, and they got a team. But all is not lost. The season is still there. So tell me, guys, what do you think? This has been No Ordinary 90, guys, where football is more than a result. I implore you to like, share, and subscribe. Don't be a stranger to the channel. Once again, peace, love, one love. I'm out.